Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me on my blog.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
Well, my name is Stephanie. I am the owner and lead planner of Sweetheart Events. So basically, what we do is we help couples, those time strapped couples, just help plan their big moments in life. Um, those West Coast wedding celebrations. So we're all over BC. We are based in Vancouver, and I am a team of five. So we all have our own like specialties and experiences that we can bring to any couple's day. That's
Wow,
us.
that's awesome. A team of
Oh,
five. Wow.
I guess I should also mention I am also a marriage officiant. So,
Oh,
yeah, so I do both. I have the ability to not only plan your big day, but to also pronounce you married during that. And so, not only sharing like your story through the details of the wedding, but also sharing your story in front of all of your loved ones on the day.
wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that you're an officiant as well.
Yeah, well, no, sometimes I'm like, oh, wait, I wear that hat too. Like, I should do that. Like, I should mention that.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk today about how to communicate with guests, during these uncertain times.
Mhm.
Tell me, has it been hard? Is it hard to be a planner right now with all of this going on?
Honestly, yes. I mean, I would say yes in the in the way of like we understand what's going on. We're empathetic. We always put our couples first, and in that, we only want the best experience for them. And in 12 years of planning weddings, I've never had to deal with postponements or cancellations. I mean, I think I've done one cancellation in those 12 years. Um, I've never, I never even handled a postponement until last year. And so, because of that, we're all navigating this together. We're making mistakes. Like, we're not unsure. So, we're not sure just of like what the best steps are. So we just kind of have to be like, okay, let's have a conversation. What is like the end goal here? Now let's talk to your venue, your vendors. But I mean, my couples are amazing. Like I've started doing a lot of meetings with some of my couples that started this week, and then they'll carry on for the next 2 weeks. Just allowing them to kind of like get through like the beginning stages of 2021 and trying to figure out, what does our wedding look like, without feeling the pressure of like, so what are you doing? How are you proceeding? Kind of thing. Because no couple needs to have that pressure from their planner or from anyone really. So many of my couples, when I've been meeting with them, they've allowed me to have that space to like be like truly honest and like share my feelings. And I love it because they've created that safe place for me. So not only have I done that for them, but what they've done for me is they've just asked me like, how are you doing? But it's not like, let's make small talk. I want surface level. Like they really are like, no, Steph, like, how are you doing? Like, can we send you more of our like final balance to help you? Can we write you a review? Like one of my brides, just out of the blue, I chatted with her and then she wrote me a Google review and she's like, I just wanted to support you in any way that I could. And I mean, it made me cry on the other side because
Oh,
I mean, I'm so grateful for like every like, every share, every like, it's keeping our industry alive right now and not being able to do what we love every day. I mean, yes, but the same love for what I do is not in the budgeting templates and the the emailing as much as like executing the day and like going to meet my couples in person. Like that's what I truly love. And so I'm not able to do that. So it's basically being told, like, you know what you really love and what you're good at, well, you're not going to get to do that this year, maybe next year, and now you're into that next year, and then it's like, wow, you know what you really love, we're going to throw more hurdles your way, and maybe you can do it next year. So I mean, yeah, right now, like, we're good. We're getting so many inquiries for 2022. So our calendars are absolutely booked with consultations. So we're feeling the love, and we're like so grateful for that. But I mean, 2021 is it's still looking promising for us. Like, we specialize in more intimate weddings anyway. So we don't have a lot of couples that are planning for larger weddings, like over 150 people. And a lot of our couples, like when we booked them, if it was with like COVID awareness around it, we were making sure that we had like a 50-person list, a 100-person list, and just being realistic and setting them up for success from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So have you found that couples are being, like you said, a lot of them are like reaching out there, giving you Google reviews, helping you out. Have you found that the couples who are booking for 2022 and 2021, have they been more understanding of just, about like all of the the rescheduling and all of that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I mean, we're all hopeful. I mean, you know, I'm driving the optimistic train, right? Like, get on board. Like, we got to just be optimistic and hopeful right now. So, I think right now, like, a lot of them, it is very promising. They're excited. But a lot of them are mentioning, like, you know, we'd love to chat with you about plan A and plan B. Like, what are your like COVID postponement policies? Like, I think there's a lot of education out there for so many couples now where they are aware that we do have to like have these like awkward conversations. And as much as we're excited, we can't just like scroll down to the bottom of a contract and sign our name. We literally have to like really understand like everything in the fine print.
What are you recommending couples do to communicate with their guests about these postponements?
I mean, yeah, communication is like the main thing everyone should be doing right now. I think a lot of people are scared,
Mhm.
nervous. So many people are anxious. They're just really unsure of like what to do. And a lot of people are panicking. And so because they're unsure, there is so much uncertainty. And I feel like, you know, as a couple, like, I've never been through this like personally, so I can't say like, oh yeah, I was a bride and I had to change my wedding plan. So I can never like fully 100% relate to any of my couples on a personal level like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, if I'm struggling with this very difficult decision and I have to possibly grieve that plan of that original date, I don't want my guests and my vendors constantly like filling up like my message box on my phone, my inbox, asking questions. And like, I would rather just be like, no, I've made a decision. So like, I do recommend like always starting the conversation, like sit down with your partner, have those conversations. What does this look like? Don't have like outside influence of like, oh, the vendors are telling me this, the venue's telling me this, because everyone is going to pull you in a million directions. And then you're never going to have like that moment to like really fully feel those emotions and be like, okay, this is what's really important to me or to us. Um, so definitely first start with that, and then go and speak with your venue, then speak with your vendors, make sure like, what does this look like? Are they hopeful? What is their like suggestion for plan of attack moving forward? Is that, you know, we'll hold a date and we'll hope for the best? Is that, let's just postpone right now? But it is like allowing your vendors to do what we do best and really like support you in this next step. And then also going to your guests. So while you're starting like all of these emails, all these conversations with the venue and the vendors, you want to make sure that you're narrowing down certain available dates, because you don't want to just choose a date and then tell your vendors, because in that case, if those vendors aren't available, one, they're going to be really sad as well, because like we book your day, we're so invested, we want to be there. And then if we aren't available, then you're putting us in like a very awkward situation, because now we have to have the contract conversation.
Mhm.
Whereas all that couple had to do was say, hey, we're postponing, here's a list of dates the venue has on hold for us, which ones are you available, and then making that decision. I mean, in my case, like the majority of the vendors were often available for the new date, so we didn't have those awkward conversations. Of course, we did have to have some of those conversations, but then the couple and the vendor or the venue just had that one-on-one, and we were able to support them in any way we could. But going to like the guests and communicating, so while all of this madness is happening and you're like trying to navigate that as well as your like full-time job, your life and everything else, and living in quarantine kind of thing, then all of your guests are like, hey, like, can I still bring that date? Does that fit under 50 people? Like, do you think this wedding's actually going to happen? What do you think? Like, you don't want that added stress. So, what I am suggesting is, like, as soon as you've started that conversation with your venue and vendors, just write an email, add it to your wedding website, and just say, like, even if you don't have a date yet, but you are for sure postponing, just put it out there. Be like, we love you, we love your support, but please, like, do not text us or message us. Like, we will be like updating you with like all information once we finalized with our venue and our vendor team. And then a lot of loved ones just kind of like just allow you to have that.
Yeah.
Um, and I just feel like when we've been doing it, like it's just been such a great response, and it allows guests to be excited again when they get the next save the date. They get the, and then they get the formal invite that actually means like, okay, no, this is the formal invite. You've made the cut to my guest count. Like, but yeah, I mean, as promised, like I did say that I would send along like a little canned response of like what you could do. But for example, one of my brides, she was like, Steph, like, we are going to move forward this July. What should we do? Should we send out another save the date? She's like, I really want everyone to start like booking accommodation and things like that. Um, and so we had already postponed everything, vendors, venue, everything's good. And so we wanted to have some fun with it. So I sent her along a template where it was like, hi, friends and family. And then it was like, press play here before reading the rest of the email. And it was the song, The Final Countdown. And like YouTube opens and it's like a fun little, and then the guests are like, okay, this is a little fun. Like, okay, this is great. And then we linked the wedding website. We explained, like, this is the process. This is what you can expect next. But in the meantime, go ahead and start booking your accommodation. We'll be like constant communication with you, updating you along the way. And so far, so good. So, I mean, she hasn't messaged me being like stressed out or having like an overwhelming response, but at least then it's in an email or it's on the wedding website, and it's not constantly like popping up on your phone, and you're being notified constantly and reminded of, oh yeah, your wedding's not happening, your wedding's not happening, your wedding's not happening. At least then you can like finalize that, move on, and start getting excited about the next one.
Oh, that's a really great idea. I love the wedding website. That's it's for communicating. You can just have that up there, and you can just update it as you know things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's so important. I mean, as much as like those beautiful invitation, like folios and like just filling it with all the details, I am such a huge fan of that. But it's not always in a couple's budget. And right now, when you're always having to send updates, having that wedding website, it doesn't have to be like full of gadgets and super flashy. There's so many free wedding website tools out there. So just start one, insert as much information as you can. Just think of it as like the FAQs of your wedding. If you were attending as a guest, what do you need to know? I mean, we include the color palette so then all the girls know exactly how to dress. We remind them, don't wear heels because, we want you on the dance floor and you're like, we're getting married at a vineyard or in the middle of a forest. And so bring those, really great shoes that work for that outfit, but make sure you bring flats just in case because we want you to just feel comfortable and enjoy the day. So,
All right. So before we wrap up, Stephanie, is there anything else you would like to, like any closing thoughts you've got about communicating with guests during the restrictions and all of that? Any closing thoughts?
I guess really like, I just want couples to know like their wedding day will happen, and um, us as a team, like we did 10 weddings last year, and it didn't, with all of our efforts, yes, there was a lot of preparation beforehand, and yes, it looked different on the day, but I would say like every bride was just so grateful. Every couple absolutely loved it. And if you've hired those professionals, you're in amazing hands, and like we've got you. Like you don't have to do this alone. Reach out to us. If you don't have a planner, get one. But if not, I mean, we're always here. Like, just reach out, send us a DM. Like, we're happy to just like give whatever advice we can. But I think even just having like this like canned response, like a little bit of a email template of like what people can send. Um, but I also have like so much other like educational content on my Instagram. So check me out at Sweetheart Events. I have the Instagram reels. I have all of that. And just drop me a DM if you want me to do like a certain like educational post on a certain topic. And I'm happy to do that. But I think right now it's just communicate. There's no right, there's no wrong answer. No question is ever stupid. Again, we're navigating this together. And so we have to come together as a team. And, when it's the wedding day, we're going to have one giant hug. Hopefully we can at that time. And that wedding day is going to mean so much more because you've already had to like overcome so many hurdles just to celebrate your love in that way. So I guess that's my closing thought.
No, that's so good. That there is still hope, and yeah, it's more important than ever to get a planner because it's just going to be so much easier and uh, so much easier for you as a bride, as a couple to navigate the day. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hire a videographer.
Yeah. Don't forget to hire a videographer. Yeah.
No, videographers are huge. Like I'm always the person like advocating for a videographer. Like I really, to me, like, photos just as important, but like, your loved ones are only with us for a certain amount of time in our life. And years later, we might want to hear their laugh. We might want to hear those speeches. Whereas, a beautiful photo never recites your vows back to one another. Like, you never hear that again. You don't hear, like, oh, that was your laugh. And I remember that moment. And it's just those candid moments that are beautifully captured. And especially if your wedding did have to pivot in a way, you do want that amazing story to share for a lifetime to follow and share that with maybe those guests that couldn't be there firsthand to celebrate. So definitely hire a videographer.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.